say hold on.
Hold on.
Amen. Amen. It's interesting that Deacon Manuel was speaking about time. I was wondering if he had peeped in my eyes of this thing.
You say 3, that's time.
Ecclesiastes 3, verse 8, and it reads as follows. It said there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die.
Amen.
A time to plant and a time to pluck up.
Go ahead.
A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build.
All right.
A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak.
Yes.
A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. And for a few moments, we're going to speak about it's about time.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Maybe soon. And as we always do, we're going to give you just a joke to get you light and hard. And then we're going to move on.
Amen.
Try not to be before you too long. And as it goes, it said a wife invited some people to dinner. And at the table, she turned to their 6-year-old daughter and said, "Would you like to say the blessing?" And the little girl said, I really know what to say. And she said, "Just say what you hear Mommy say." And the daughter bowed her head and said, "Lord, why on earth did I invite all these people?" Next one goes. It said a Sunday school teacher asked her children as they were on the way to church service, "And why is it important to be quiet in church?"
All right.
One bright little girl said, "Because there's lots of people sleeping." Oh, we hope it is not you that are sleeping in this room.
That ain't even right.
Just for a little while this morning. And it's about time.
About time.
Now, imagine there is a bank that credits your account each morning with $86,400. And it carries no balance from day to day. Every evening it deletes whatever part of the balance you failed to use during the day. Now what would you do?
Use it up.
Some of you would try and use it up. And others, because you knew it would be deleted, would try and withdraw. Amen. But it said there's no rollover minutes with God. Each of us has that deposit made in our lives every day.
Yes.
Amen. And its name is time.
All right.
Every morning it credits you 86,400 seconds. Every night it writes off whatever is lost or whatever you have failed to invest in a good purpose. It carries no balance. It allows no overdraft. And each day it opens a new account for you. Each night it burns the remaining of the day. If you fail to use what it deposits, the loss is yours. There's no going back. There's no drawing against tomorrow. The loss, again, is all yours.
Yes, yes.
It said that there is a present day deposit only. Invest it so that you get from it the utmost health, happiness, and success. Remember that the clock is running.
Yes.
Most of the day today, you know that you started out with that 86,400 seconds this morning.
Yes.
And I can imagine there's somebody in here that has wasted some time this day.
Yes.
And you can't get it back.
Amen.
I heard a story about a man who worked at a factory. And one of his main jobs was to blow the factory whistle at 5 o'clock to indicate the workday was over. He walked to work each day and passed a jewelry store where there was a beautiful grandfather clock displayed in the window. And every morning he stopped and he set his pocket watch to match the time on the grandfather clock. One morning the store owner was out sweeping the sidewalk and the factory worker asked him how he kept such accurate time on the grandfather clock. And the jewelry owner said, oh, I set it every afternoon. Then the factory whistle blows at 5 o'clock. And so while he was setting his clock by the grandfather clock, the jewelry owner was setting the grandfather clock by the whistle.
Yes.
People live by the clock because time is important to all of us. Ben Franklin said, do not squander time, for it's the stuff that life is made of.
Yes,
Many frustrated people always fight the clock, habitually as a way of life. They stay up late, and then they sleep as late as they can, then rush frantically to work or gulping down an unhealthy breakfast in the car, applying their makeup at the stoplight, and talking on their cell phone at the same time.
Yes.
As I study Jesus' life, I'm amazed how that he never seemed to be in a hurry.
Yes.
Although he was doing the most important job in history.
Yes.
And although he knew he only had a few years to do it, he never ran.
Yes.
He made time to consider the flowers and the birds of the air. He had time to put his hands on little children and bless them.
All right.
Time was his friend.
Yes.
The Bible gives us some great insight as to how time can become your friend rather than your enemy. Basically, God exists in a realm that is not bound by time or space.
Yes.
God doesn't wear a Rolex or even a Timex. He doesn't have a daytimer or a PDA. He is a creator of time.
Yes.
He is greater than time. So the first step in making time your friend is to totally immerse your life in God. We read Psalms 91 through 4, 10 and 12, and it said, Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in generation. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God.
Yes.
Thou turnest man to destruction, and sayest, return ye children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it's past, as a watch in the night.
Yes.
The days of our years are 80 and what? And 10.
Yes.
And if by reason of strength they be fourscore, yet their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away.
Amen.
So teach us to number our days,
Yes.
that we may apply our hearts into wisdom. Let's use the 4 letters of the word time to help us learn its importance.
Yes.
T stands for treasure.
Yes.
God says we treasure time as a valuable commodity. You number your years, or at least some of you do. But God says every day is precious.
Yes.
So we should
Yes.
treasure and number it.
Yes.
To realize the value of a year Ask a student who failed a grade.
Uh,
Okay.
To realize the value of a month, ask a mother who gave birth to a premature child.
yes.
How valuable is an hour? Ask the businessman whose flight was delayed by an hour and he missed an important business
Yes.
deal.
Yeah.
How valuable is a minute? Ask the man who had a heart attack in a restaurant and an EMT happened to be sitting next
Yes.
to him when he had a heart attack.
Yes.
How valuable is a second? Ask the person who barely missed being in a head-on collision. How valuable is a millisecond? Ask the Olympian swimmer who missed qualifying
Yes.
by
All right.
6
All right. All right.
Amen.
Time is valuable.
Amen.
Amen.
So
Amen.
learn a couple of things about what it means in your family. Treasure every moment you have.
Yes. Yes.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery.
All right.
Today is a gift. That's why we call it a present.
Amen.
Said, have you ever heard of the expression time is money? Well, I'm here to tell you this morning it's not true.
Uh-oh.
Time is much more valuable than money.
Amen.
It may be hard to make more money, but it can be done.
All right. That's right.
But it's totally impossible to make more time.
Yes.
Amen.
Time is more valuable than money. A.W. Tozer wrote these words. He said, time is a resource that is non-renewable and non-transferable.
Yes.
You cannot store it, slow it up, hold it up,
Yes.
divide it, or give it up. You can't hoard it or save it for a rainy day. When it's lost, it's unrecoverable. When you kill time, remember that it has no resurrection.
Yes.
So understand that you should treasure time as your most valuable asset that you are given in this world. The next letter in time is I. Invest.
Yes. Amen.
We use a lot of phrases with time that aren't really possible. You can't buy more time. You really can't find more time. We speak of making time, but it's impossible to do. You can't save it. You can only invest it.
Yes.
Time is more valuable than money. But it's like money that it can be spent and invested. It's different from money though, because while money can be saved, time can't.
Yes.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right. Amen.
Forever, it
Amen.
said that in the early 70s,
Amen.
Jim Croce wrote a song that said, if I could save time in a Bible, the first thing that I do is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you.
All right.
We have all kinds of time-saving appliances like microwave. Guys love to shortcuts in order to save time. And you know that we spoke about that in Sunday school. You see, you know, it might cook your meal a little faster, but it don't make it taste that good.
All right.
Where you invest your time reveals what is most important to you. There are 168 golden hours in each week. The average person will spend 56 of those hours sleeping, about 24 of those hours eating and personal hygiene, about 50 of those hours working or traveling to work. And that means that there are only about 35 hours of discretionary time left over. That's about 5 hours per day. Where are you investing that time?
All right.
If I were you, if I were to follow you around and observe you for those 5 hours, after about 10 days, I could tell you what's most important in your life.
Amen.
You might not like it. You might not agree with it. But for some of you, surfing the internet is most important to you. For others of you, watching television or reading magazines or playing on your cell phone is the most important thing to you. Now, how much of that discretionary time do you spend with the Lord?
Oh.
How much are you devoting to your family?
Amen.
It said that fathers spend an average of 8 minutes a day on weekdays and 14 minutes a day on weekends and various activities with their children. It seems as though what is important to them is not what they're spending that discretionary time. Have you ever heard this excuse from a mom or a father said, I don't spend much time with my family, but the little time I do spend is quality time. I don't really like that phrase because it is most often used as an excuse for not spending time. Quality time is a misnomer because all the time is quality time.
Amen.
I prefer the phrase fun family time, meaningful family time. But there's no substitute for investing a large quantity of time with your family. If they are important to you, indicated by the amount of discretionary time you give them. The next letter in time is M. And that stands for manage. I reminded you this morning that all the money in the world is not going to be able to allow you to buy time. But that same time that you have, if managed properly, it will be a benefit to you.
Yeah.
Every moment is a gift from God that must be managed wisely.
Yes.
There's an entire field of study called time management. In almost every business in America, consultants are hired to teach business executives to better manage their time.
Yes.
Time management is a hot topic. In his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey writes, time management is a misleading concept. You can't really manage time. You can't delay it, speed it up, save it, or lose it. You just lose it. No matter what you do, time keeps moving forward at the same rate. The challenge is not to manage time, but to manage ourselves. The Bible uses another word instead of managing your time. It speaks of redeeming your time, which is an even better idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Paul writes, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil.
All right.
If you don't manage your time, someone will manage it for you.
Amen.
You can't save it or even waste time. You're going to spend it somewhere or invest it in someone. If you don't control your schedule, someone will always be happy to do it for you.
Yeah.
Some people complain they just don't have enough time to spend with their family. You've got exactly the same amount of time as everyone else does.
That's right.
You just aren't managing your time wisely or managing yourself wisely.
That's right.
And the last letter in time is enjoy. The time you spend with your family should be enjoyable.
Right.
It should be the best time of your life. Here are a couple of ways to enjoy your family time. Say no to family time robbers. There will always be something else to do. There will always be somewhere else you can be. But if you are going to make time and your family a priority, you're going to have to learn the power of the word no. There's a story that is spoken about Ken Griffey Jr. He was invited to speak at the Players' Choice Awards, where he was to be awarded Player of the Year. And that's a big deal on national television. He beat out players like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire. But when he found out when the award was to be given, he declined to attend. He had something more important to do. His 5-year-old son Trey was playing his first baseball game, and Ken wasn't going to miss it. Good for him.
Amen.
You need to learn to say no to some of the things that take you away from your family. And here's another reason that you have to work on it, is say yes to memory.
Yes.
Our children are only going to be with us for a few years, so we must make the most of it. James writes in James 4:14, he said that, whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? Is it even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, then vanisheth away. Turn to the person next to you and say, you don't have long to live. So let's make memories of time. Amen. Time to treasure, time to invest, time to manage, and time to enjoy.
Yes.
And here, is there a solution to this time issue? Yeah, there is a solution. It is to put some margin in your life. Margin is breathing room. It's keeping a little reserve that you're not using up. It's not going from one meeting to the next with no space between. Margin is space between your load and your limit. Hopefully your load is not heavier than your limits. But the truth is that most of us are far more overloaded than we can handle. It seems like every day that we wake up, we seem like there just aren't enough minutes in the day to do everything that we have on our agenda.
Yeah.
What if God put you on that time, on that kind of time? What if he said to you, I don't have time for you, like you're saying, I don't have time for him? Would it be something that you would be acceptable to? Would that be acceptable to you if God told you, I can't fit you in on my agenda? Now, every day that you don't spend quality time with God, you're telling God, I don't have time for you on my agenda. Remember that it's all about time. But time is not our enemy unless you make it your enemy. If you wake up and you give God the glory, then you spent time with him.
That's right.
Yes.
God is happy, you're happy, and your day is happy.
Yes.
All right.
And that you'll find that the things that you have to do, that you put on your list to do all during the day, that some of those things fall off because they're really not important.
Amen.
That's right.
And that you replace them with things that are worthy of your time. Because remember that 84,600 minutes or seconds that you get every day, it don't carry over. You know how some of y'all got them telephone plans that if you don't use a minute this month, it rolls over to the next month. You ain't got no rollover time. You know, every day, whatever is left, whatever you didn't do, whatever you didn't use, it's lost. Now, when you think of time as money, how many of you want to lose money? Not very many of you, right? So if you don't want to lose money, then you should not want to lose time. You know, how many minutes did you spend this morning just idly doing nothing? I know I woke up this morning and I sat on the side of the bed and I didn't move. And that was time that was wasted. I can know on some days that I do just what the message said, that I waste time and then I try and make up time. You know, that I could have got in the car by 5 minutes earlier, but I wanted to hear the last bit of the news before I walked out the door. And so there I went rushing, trying to make up what I lost.
All right.
But in my mind now, I know that I can't make up that time. And so I need to manage it more wisely.
Amen.
All of us need to understand that you cannot make up time. You cannot impose time, and you cannot duplicate time. You know, what I didn't do 5 minutes ago, I can't go back and rewind. So God is telling you that if you didn't praise me right now, that if you don't bow down your knee,
All right.
if you don't lift up your voice to praise me right now, he said that you don't know if tomorrow is coming to you.
Right.
So you can't say, God, hold up, wait a minute. Let me go back in those minutes that I didn't spend praising you yesterday. Let me go back and let me redeem those minutes. You can't do it. And so the message this morning is that please use your time wisely. Because it's all about time. That today is 12 hours gone. And it ain't but 11 hours and 45 minutes left. And when you put it in that perspective, what have you done with those 12 hours and 15 minutes that have already passed? What will you do with the 11 hours and 45 minutes that you have left? Having been privileged to hear the message, I hope that you'll understand that every second is precious. Every moment cannot be replaced. So whatever you choose to do, remember that time will not roll back.
Yes.
Amen. With that, we hope that something has been said.
Amen.
That, just open up your minds and your hearts to let you understand that it's about time.
Yes.
And it's about time that you stop sleeping on God.
Yes.
It's about time that you stop delaying praising God.
Amen.
It's about time that you stop your wicked way.
Yes.